You know what sound that means, folks. It's time for another ElkWorks Noon Whistle. I'm Chris Trottier.
And I'm John Anzalone. And our special guests today are Elkhorn Area School District Athletic Director John Handel, Ray Beilman, and Ella Storlie. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
You guys are our first students. Maiden voyage. It's pretty impressive.
Well, Chris, why did we invite these wonderful students here today?
I don't know. I'm going to ask John. John, why did you invite these wonderful students to the maiden voyage of the student?
Sure. The
edition?
WIAA's highest honor that they give kids every year is called the WIAA Scholar Athlete, and they've been running this program, I believe, since the 1980s. And it's everything that you would encompass in a good student athlete. And there's a point for grade point average. They give away points, and then how many times you lettered, and how many times you were captains, and how many times you were MVPs, and all those things. And so we do the exact same stuff there, and all the kids that qualify, then our head coaches get a chance to sit down and vote. And Ella and Ray were this year's recipients of the award for the high school. They then get put in a pool of, I believe there are about 480 kids from the state that get picked, might be even more than that. And then they whittle that down to 32 kids. 2 kids make it Division II, 1 boy and 1 girl. So really select company. I believe Elkhorn's had 3 of those. Our last one was Devin Davey a few years ago. But these guys obviously did an awesome job to get to the point that they got to. So we spent some time back in February and March filling out the application and getting ready for this. So these guys both have really awesome stories to tell and are really good representatives of our school and our values and what we believe in.
That's excellent. So tell me this. So congratulations to both of you first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second, pretend I'm a freshman and I'm like, hey, Ella, hey, Ray, how did you do this? What would you tell me if I wanted to try and achieve this as I travel through high school?
You know like achieve this WIAA scholar honor? Is that what
yeah, like what advice would you give me to go, here's what you need to do through high school to be at this level?
I would say for me, it was staying focused. I think there's a lot of distractions you have in high school. And I feel like if you really know that you're good enough to achieve what you want to achieve, I feel like you can achieve it, regardless of what other people think. So I'd have to say that to a freshman, especially if the freshman is not necessarily confident in themselves. So I guess going along with that, having confidence is equally as important.
Ella?
I'd say it's the balance between sports and school, not letting school overturn sports, but not letting sports get way more important than school. It's kind of both. Yeah.
So why don't you, Ray, tell us a little bit. I know Coach Handel mentioned that there was you had to check some boxes on your experiences and awards. Tell us, and he said that you two have great stories. Tell us your story, Ray, and then we'll go to Ella.
So yeah, I've been playing soccer here at the high school and varsity for all 4 years. I've been coached by the Kazers, which is, it's just been a great experience. We've gone to state twice, sectional finals 3 times, and then last year we were cut a little bit short at sectional semis. So me personally, I have been super accomplished in this through the program, and I don't know what else.
All right, sounds good. Ella, tell us about your journey and your story. How many sports, what co-curriculars?
Well, I've played basketball and softball since I was little. Then I picked up golf in high school to just kind of be active in the fall and play another sport. And I ended up being on varsity 3 times for that, so it was a good experience. And I was a leader.
Good choice.
Too. Yeah. So it was just fun to meet new coaches and new friends with that. But then with basketball and softball, I was kind of a leader on the team. Even though I didn't play as much, but I'd still be a leader in the background. So yeah.
I have a quick question for Coach Handel. Coach Handel, how do you measure yourself against other golfers, real quick?
Height, right?
By height, that's correct.
Yeah, I'm hoping you'll be back involved in our Booster Club golf outing again after pretty noticeably absent last year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, so John, can I buzz one in here,
These
Chris?
guys sold themselves a little short too. I think a lot of the activity stuff, I think we caught them a little off guard. I mean, we have our first ever chess club, the founders here. I think the cool thing about Ray, a lot of times we have, kids he was player of the year in the conference in soccer, and then he decided to, ran track, helped the track team out. This year he's playing tennis. Ella switched sports and went out for golf. Like that stuff's pretty cool because a lot of kids, that's the cool message that I'd like to share of these guys. If I'm telling a story to somebody, they took a lot of high school, and took a lot of opportunities to try a lot of new things, and that's really, really important as well. Ella was very involved in a lot of social media promotion for sports, and so these two are super, super involved in the school community as well.
And obviously getting it done in the classroom.
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, that's whole nother focus. That's a whole nother team to be on, is the academic side of it.
Yeah.
They don't call it athlete student, right? They call it student athlete.
Yeah.
And neither one was afraid to be a leader at times when their teams needed it too. And I think that's why the teams they were on were so successful.
Ella, what's one takeaway from you? Like you look back now, and I'm sure for even Ella and Ray, it's hard to believe that you're how many days left of school? I'm sure you don't know the number, do you?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
I believe it's 13 days?
13 days. Like share with me or share with the viewers and what's one memorable experience each of you had from your Elkhorn career as it relates to co-curriculars or athletics? Ray, you go first.
Okay. Memorable or most memorable moment, I'd say I'd definitely going to state freshman year. I feel like that's always something very important for whatever sport you do. Getting to like that final stage and like all the lights are on you, and having all my friends be at the game too, that was really neat. They got out of school a little bit early, so they were all thanking me and the teammates. So that was also neat as well. But definitely that's up there with one of my top moments.
Ella?
I'd say mine wasn't like one moment in particular. It was just like all the practices and games that I had with my friends, and just like having those memories just like every day with like team bonding and everything through golf and basketball and stuff, that those are really going to stick with me.
John, what sticks out to you about these two? Like, I know you talked a little bit about it, but like obviously their involvement, but when you sat with the coaches, obviously you don't want to go through all the conversations.
Yeah, well, I think that they exhibit like all of the core values that we have here. Both are very competitive. They're team-oriented kids. They're 3-sport athletes. So I mean, and they really do, focus on the student part before the athletic piece. So I mean, these are obviously the cream of the crop kids that we have in our school, and we have lots and lots of them. So for these two to get their names picked by the coaches obviously is a pretty big deal, but there's nothing, they're kids that get it both on and off the field. And I don't want to call them low maintenance, but I think they're pretty low maintenance kids to handle too, kids that are really fun to coach.
That's how we describe Mr. Anzalone. He's very low maintenance.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, right.
Well, I think
three
they're
people on the show who's low maintenance.
connectors of people, and they care about other kids on the team, and all those things are really important.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, both of you guys now are on teams that are having a pretty good season and making a pretty good run here as we go into the middle of May, right? So Ray, you guys are on the hook here. We're pretty close to maybe getting a conference championship
For
track.
I'm not doing track this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
I switched over to tennis this year.
Oh, gotcha. Well, good luck in tennis. I'm moving right over to Ella then. Softball's going pretty well, hey?
Yeah, we're first in conference right now.
Big game tonight?
Yeah,
Who's tonight?
Union Grove.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Broncos.
Good luck.
Yeah, the Broncos.
Good
All right,
luck.
so what share with the viewers what your post high school goals are. we'll start with Ray first. What are you doing afterwards? What does it look like? Tell us about that a little bit.
So after high school here, I'll be taking a gap year, and I'll be working around and getting some money. And the goal is to go to college the next year. And if playing soccer there or wherever I'm at is an option, I might do that. But really, it's just to kind of, I know it sounds cliche, but to grow and gain as much knowledge as I can, just grow as a person, be a better person. I feel like if you have that goal, I feel like you'll be successful in life.
Does the gap year include working at Micro Precision or traveling to Belize or no?
No, it does not actually.
Yeah. So for everybody who's watching, his father works at Micro Precision, and you lived in Belize for what, a year?
Well, we lived in Costa Rica for a year.
Or Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Sure. Ella, what does it look like for you afterwards?
Well, next year I'm going to UW lacrosse, and I'm going to study elementary education just because I like little kids and I want to do that in my future. So,
Does education run in your family?
Yeah. Yeah.
it might. I don't know.
Does lacrosse run in your family?
A little bit.
Yeah.
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 Well, congratulations to both of you. I mean, that's a big accomplishment. Congratulations to you, John Handel, and for all you do. I mean, you're a busy guy, and especially in the spring when things are changing, and I'm always impressed with the time you've taken as athletic director to form the coaches culture group, and you have kids, in your office that you work with, and leadership and things like that. And I think that's really important and big components when it comes to like the whole person.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There's certainly a lot of stuff to athletics beyond the scoreboard, and we're really trying hard to do the right things for kids so they get off and they look real good at the next level with whoever gets them. So whatever they do, they have the skills to be able to handle that. And these two will be back on the show again in a few years talking about all their great things that they've done at wherever they go to school or whatever they choose to do. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Well, Ansel, that was a perfect segue into our thank yous and shout outs. So you obviously thank Coach Handel. Coach Handel, why don't you give your shout out, and then we'll go to Ray and Ella.
Yeah, I was at the Purple and Gold last weekend for the first time in like 15 years. And I would like to give a shout out to that whole committee, but I know Mary Ann Hunter was one of the ones leading the charges. But she is one of so many people in Elkhorn that just give to the community just for all the right reasons. And I think all those people deserve a big shout out. So all those people who are giving back to the school district in so many ways. Volunteerism it's really important to run athletics and activities programs, and that scholarship program is an example of just a bunch of people putting their heads together saying, hey, let's do the best thing for kids here. So shout out to all those guys, but in particular Mary Ann.
Ray, who do you got?
So of course, Mr. Handel. I'd also have to say my coaches as well, for all my sports I've done throughout all the years. And then finally, I'd have to give a shout out to my parents. I can say I realize how much they've done for me and how much time they've, put into me. But I don't think I'll ever be able to understand how much it truly is. So for that reason, I'd have to put them up there.
Ella, what about you?
I'd say obviously my coaches, especially with Malvitz and Rishlack. They made golf really fun and made me stick around for 4 years. And then when my dad took over for basketball, he made it such a good experience. And with Remington with softball, they've all done so much. And then I'd obviously like to thank my parents because they've been taking me to practice, helped me study for tests. They've been awesome.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to close with, I believe this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, isn't it?
It is.
It is. We'll thank all the teachers, but it's also Nurses Appreciation Week.
Oh.
So I have to thank our school district nurse, Mrs. Mary Trottier.
Okay.
So, yeah, pretty good move there,
well
Ray.
played.
Yeah, really good call. Yeah. So, hey, I want to throw something out to you guys real quick, since we were talking about people and people that help us. And I want you to think about the question of, if you were to think of 3 people that were impactful in your life, and maybe you guys are too young, or, you know, great mentors or people who are influential. It's amazing how when you ask people that, most of the time one is a parent, another is a coach, or another is a teacher. And I think that's the true impact of what you said, John, on doing things for kids and schools is most of the time when we think back, it's someone in that school system that was impactful to our lives.
Yeah, and I hope we don't ever forget that, because there's so many people, and Elkhorn is a pretty special place. That's why a lot of people like having their kids go to school here, and that's why a lot of teachers don't leave here, because they love the impact it has. And we have problems I hear from other athletic directors about things and getting people to volunteer and things, that we don't have those problems, because, you know, it definitely takes a village, and we have a wonderful bunch of people that back our activities in athletics and our whole school district, which is really awesome to see. I hope we never get away from that.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we'll leave it there, because that's a great message to the community and all the viewers. We had one last comment come in that we'll post from Mr. Hansen here over at Hansen Screen Printing, and we'll thank him for being a loyal viewer. And Ray and Ella, thank you so much for joining us. Coach Handel, thanks for all your hard work. And on that note, we are going to
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thank you.